This is the Little Moments Count radio podcast, created in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. Each episode, you'll hear interviews with early childhood experts on how to support the important brain development that takes place in the first 1,000 days of life, just through little moments every day. Learn more at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Little Moments Count, a statewide collaborative focused on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life.
Hey, that's exciting. And we're going to talk to the Little Moments people. And, today's been a crazy day. We were at the state capitol doing a lot of things that we'll talk about later in the show. That was a teaser, Wendy.
It is a teaser.
But right now, wow, how excited am I? Right now, we're with Anna Sheppard, who's the president of the White Earth Tribal and Community College in Minnesota here. We are really excited to hear your truth, and we also have Tammi with you too. So, wow, let's get going right away with this great information. Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate being here. So this is awesome that you guys invited us to speak with you today on, this important topic. And so I want to introduce my colleague, Tammi.
Hello.
Hey, welcome, Tammi. Great to have you both here. And Tammi, you're the Head Start Pathways Program Coordinator at White Earth Tribal and Community College. That's WETCC. We love the fact that you're here spreading this word. We're all over the country, all over Turtle Island. We're in Civic Media, which is on 11 stations live in Wisconsin, and of course, AM 950 and in Minnesota, and also live on YouTube and Facebook. So we're here excited to amplify your message.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. So let's talk. Let's get the questions going here, Wendy. Let's talk a few things here and find out what exactly are you doing up. Or first of all, maybe tell everyone where White Earth is, and that's a good thing to start with because we have people from all over the country. Anna, where are you located?
Yep, we are located in Minnesota, so kind of towards the northwestern, located in Mahnomen, Minnesota.
Cool. And, how does, let's talk about your program. And I think Tammi, maybe I can bring Tammi in here to ask her a few questions right away. And, it's important we talk about this with all the people that come on with Little Moments Count. It's so important to get our little ones early and talk about learning and being in a good environment. How do you support that, and how do you do that up there in White Earth?
Okay, well, what I do is I'm a coordinator of a grant, and it is funding the Head Start Pathways program, which is an initiative to increase the number of highly qualified early childhood education staff who possess Indigenous knowledge and cultural understanding, both in and around the White Earth Reservation and Northwest Minnesota. And that is made possible through a tribal colleges and Head Start partnership grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Administration of Children and Families, Office of Head Start. I have to get in our funding, our funding partners for sure. But what we do basically is educate the early childhood educators who are teaching the youngest in our communities.
Wow, that's exciting. Anna, can you say who is in your college? Who are your students, and what kind of degrees do you have to offer? And we're talking about education, but I'm sure there's more than just education at your school.
Yep, we are a TCU, so there's 35 across the nation. TCU stands for Tribal Colleges and Universities. And so we are primarily made up of Indigenous students. I want to say we're about 80% of our population is Indigenous students. And then we are open, to non-Indigenous students. So they make up about 20%. And so right now, we offer the Associates of Arts degree. We're looking at expanding, an AS science degree right now. We're also looking to put our AA online. So we have some of our courses that we are, and we do offer different certificates. So a popular one that people are really flocking to is our Ojibwe language. And so that's just a fun one to hear, the students, when they have their language tables, we have a room just designated solely where when you walk in there, that's how you get greeted and you have conversations. So yeah, it's really a fun thing to have.
That is an exciting thing, and I think it's chilling for our older ones and young ones to hear that spoken all the time. Zoe, do you have any response? You're or just a recent graduate. It's excited to hear the language and see these programs for our little ones.
Yeah, and I have I've been a part of a lot of programming at WETCC. I moved down here 4 years ago, but I used to go to a lot of the extension programming that you guys have, and it's really wonderful to see that now that you guys have more things for the little ones, because I know that's also an issue with adults that are going to the college is having childcare in order to go to school and to be present in classes. So is that something that is a part of this too? Or like, how does that work with your students? Is there, I believe, isn't there a Head Start right next to the tribal college, or am I getting that wrong?
No, you are absolutely correct. We have a Head Start right across the street and located right on our grounds. We have a partnership with childcare. So they are located there too. So we know a lot of our students do utilize those, and we have some of our staff too. And the big thing that we went after this Head Start Pathways grant is to grow our own. We know the best educators are parents. And so we just want to make sure that they get educated so they can come into the classrooms and have those positions, because who better to teach our students than those in the community and those who know our Anishinaabe cultures, values, and traditions and can speak some of the language. And I know prior to my position as the president at White Earth Tribal and Community College, I was the Head Start director. So I oversaw all the villages on the reservation. And one of the big initiatives, and I did bring one of them, we call it the Book of Numbers. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. I know those of you listening, you have no idea what I'm showing. But we worked with the community members to come in, and we developed these books here. And then we use pictures just from our current classrooms, but we also put the numbers in there, and with the Indigenous language, and also with the Ojibwe or the English, sorry. And then the other thing, what you can't really see on the pictures, I'll hold this one up as another example, is they're using sign language. So this is the sign for colors. And
Wow.
so a lot of people don't understand that sign language is an Indigenous language, and that's how the tribes used to communicate with other tribes, is through that one. So now, we have come about and we have the ASL, the American Sign Language, but that's something that I was really passionate. So we did get that program developed over there. So they're also teaching the sign language with that, in which we notice, especially with our younger students who haven't quite talked about their feelings or don't have that language developed, they're able to sign it. And so a child as young as 6 months old can start signing if you give them that knowledge.
Wow, let's talk more about that, and let's get deep into what you guys are doing there, you and Tammi. I'm really excited to hear that, and I'm really excited to hear about the signing, because that is our old way for sure. You know, how we traded amongst indigenous people up here. So, you know, wow, I'm excited. We're with Anna and Tammi, and we're talking about some tribal stuff here, and we're going to be right back. This is exciting, Wendy.
It's very exciting. I have a little story to tell you about my niece who's 16 months old.
Oh, hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is supported by Little Moments Count, a statewide collaborative focused on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of brain development in the first 3 years of life.
Hey, wow, we got Anna Sheppard and Tammi here, who is the Pathways coordinator. I want to jump into, I know Wendy's got a story, but I want to jump into with Tammi and tell our audience what really is the Pathways program, and let's get that out there. Oh,
well, we applied for a grant. We're about midway through. What it does is it's a collaborative between White Earth Tribal and Community College, the University of Minnesota Crookston, and White Earth Head Start program. And basically, it's a scholarship program that supports students and it trains the early childhood educators. They start by earning their degree or their 2-year degree with us at White Earth. And because we're a tribal college, the culture and history is built into all of our coursework. And so it gives them a good foundation. And then we get them ready to transfer to UMC to finish out their 4-year degree in early childhood education.
wow. And Tammi, I'm sorry, Anna, I want to ask you this. You know, why is it so important to incorporate Native Indigenous knowledge in the culture? I mean, I know why, but I want our audience to hear it from you. Oh,
Yep. Basically, it's just to validate, our lives and to see individuals that look like us, in those different educational systems. I look back at my history, going through the K-12 system. I think there was one Indigenous teacher that I had, and so I didn't see myself supported there, and then even, they didn't understand, going to powwows and how we're a powwow family, they just didn't understand a lot of that. And so with this, I think it's important, like I said, just to have someone that can teach our ways and that, don't have to worry about, do I say this here? Do I not say that there? Because, that's something that we think about. And when I talk about that with the people to try to explain that, I said, even when you ask me my name, I have to think about what context am I in? Do you want to know my clan? Do you know my true name? Do you want to know my English name, my family, my background? I have to constantly weigh that. And, it's something that I'm constantly thinking about, like, okay, where am I? And what do I have to say and do? So that's why we do this, and like I said, it's really important to grow our own, in the White Earth Nation. And so this is why we applied for that grant. And I believe there's only 6 of us across the nation who received this grant. And so it was a pilot program, and my understanding talking with them is that they hope to continue this program. So we'll be able to reapply, and hopefully we'll get that and continue to, just have more educators in our nation.
wow, that's great. And, I want to bring Wendy and my wife here because we have a young one in our extended family. And you kind of hit a cool little thing about signing and how important that is. We got just a little mini story, right, Wen?
Well, my niece did sign language with my great niece. She's 16 months old now, from the day she was born. So the things like she would say more, please, thank you, water. And Lily, who's 16 months old, can sign all of those because she doesn't have language skills right now. So signing is really important. So she can communicate, which is really awesome, since her body can't say the words right now.
Yeah. And Anna, that is so exciting. And I really love the fact that you brought up being Ho-Chunk, that we did a lot of trading. We've been here for 10,000 years. amongst our Native and Indigenous people here. And that's how we did speak, and it's come from us. And you bringing that up is very important for everyone to hear.
It is. And so I appreciate you sharing that story, because that is why I wanted to make sure that, ASL was taught at those Head Start sites. And even with students, who don't have that ability, they have a way now to communicate. And so instead of, acting out, they're able to, sign. And we even did one on feelings, because we know ASL is very expressionable, in our facial expression. So if they're happy, it's really going to show. And if they're angry, that's going to come across too. Wow.
This is amazing. Tammi, how do you feel about that? Because I'm sitting here kind of amazed.
I actually used that with my youngest son. I mean, he's 19 now, but at the time, when he was 18 months, or they talk about the terrible twos all the time, but we found that by using sign language, it alleviates a lot of the frustration, because a lot of the times it's just their inability to communicate what they want or what they need. And it was like night and day once we gave him the signs. It made life so much easier for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Hey, we got a few minutes left here, Anna. I'm really thinking it's important to back up a little bit and talk a little bit more about the White Earth Tribal and Community College, and the interests in if somebody's interested in seeking a degree or in early child education, what do they have to do? What's their next steps?
Yep, they can just go right on our website, which is WETCC, short for White Earth Tribal Community College. And just go on there and, let us know that they're interested. And they can also view some of our pictures, our offerings that we have. And so we're starting to, in March, sign up for fall classes already, or summer classes. And so, and you can even apply for starting this fall already. So yes, send them our way. We're excited. One of the things, I just got back from Washington, D.C., so I had two students, and they testified, with our senators and representatives. But they shared that one of the things that, was really impactful is they said that the reason they come to TCUs is because they feel like it's family. They get the help. Any questions that they have, they don't feel like, getting shamed. They'll, if they don't know that, they're going to find someone else, who can help them, whether it's at the college or whether it's with another White Earth entity. But we're going to help them and just make sure that they have a successful academic program. And so, we want to make sure that everything that they're hit on, the emotional, social, cognitive levels.
Wow, that's exciting. Tammi, do you have any last words before we end this? Because this has gone by way too fast, but I think we've learned a ton of stuff in a short time.
Absolutely. Just reminding you that the website is wetcc.edu, and you can click on apply now and fill out the application right online. And it only takes a few minutes, and your future is within reach. It's right there.
Well, I want to bring in Zoe one last time too, if she has any questions or statements, because she's a young worker with us, and she just got out of college, so this is kind of her jam too. It's fresh for her. Zoe, do you have any comments or statements before we end this?
I guess just asking how, especially Anna, since you've been in the field so long, how you see these programs helping our youth, and if you've been able to see more long-term effects on what these programs offer to them and how that helps them. Yeah, I guess that's my question.
Yep, I definitely see Head Start being very impactful, especially working with our youngest, and that carries all the way up through to our collegiate level. But just with our youngest, just giving them, a level playing field. So when they enter the K-12 system, they have a lot of that knowledge. And so that's what's super important as, parents, just to make sure that you're reading to your children, having those conversations, playing those games, and talking about our culture. Bring them to ceremonies if it's appropriate, at that time for you. I just look back at both of my girls. They are now adults, working adults. One is a kindergarten teacher, so it's kind of fun to see what she's learned and utilized. And one of the big things that she does is she purposely wears her skirt, and then she'll let the other Indigenous students know that. And so they'll either wear the ribbon skirts or their skirts on the same day. So she's really bringing cultural pride there and just making an impact. And, it's on a non-reservation. And so it's out in Eastern North Dakota. So that's pretty cool. Then my other daughter, she works at Youth Works here in Fargo. So works with a lot of the Indigenous population who are having some issues, whether it's trafficking or, domestic abuse situations. So yeah, it's fun to see where they're going. And I just kind of wanted to go back to what Tammi said. If you're interested in working in Head Start, definitely check out that program. Everything will be covered and paid for. They provide a computer. There's stipends that they also have, I believe, gas. And so Tammi could probably wrap that up in, a little bit more what we offer there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically a full scholarship. Covers your tuition, books, fees, and anything. There's need-based stipends. So even when it comes to licensure and cost for tests, we cover that. So yeah, we take away that barrier of the financial burden that college could be.
Wow. Thank you so much, you guys, for being on. Check out www.wetcc.edu. Thank you so much for stopping in. What a great way to start the show. Peeny Gigi for all you do for our community. Oh, Peeny Gigi. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you,
Tammi and Anna.
Thanks, Minnesota. Moments count.
Little moments count.
Yes. And if you're listening to the show, you're part of the resistance. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Now.
Thanks for listening to the Little Moments Count radio podcast in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. You can find the Little Moments Count radio podcast wherever you get your podcasts and at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.